BRB.
It came from some burrows?
What?
It was from some burrows?
Yes, man.
The only things I've ever had from some burrows are the, like, party platter, tiny burrito things.
Mini chimneys.
Yeah.
Mini chimneys.
Yeah.
Yo, you had a plug over here so I can plug my fucking phone. That shit is big time
Here,
dying.
exchange the iPhone cable.
Oh, you got a charger?
Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Here you go.
I was just gonna plug mine in.
Crazy. So I guess my phone is just kind of on the speaker.
Yo.
What's good?
Hey, man. How's life? What's going on?
Pretty good.
That's pretty lit.
We were talking about the Loch Ness monster earlier.
Oh yeah, we gotta discuss some of the, mythological things. I mean, things that we've heard of but haven't seen.
Yeah. Where are you at on that?
I mean, I'm like, anything's possible. I'm really one of those people that's like, at the end of the day, like, who am I to be like, nah, like, you didn't see that, because people have said that they've seen it. So, like, that's a thing.
My brother was telling me about this village that I guess, like, members of the community have, like, generationally older people who claim that there's this, like, naturally flowing river, but all the water is boiling water. And then people who heard this were like, that's a bunch of bullshit. And then they, like, found it, and it's real.
Yeah.
So, Loch Ness Monster?
I mean, what I'll say is there's got to be some truth to it. It may not be, like, as, like, big or, as crazy as people make it seem.
Yeah.
It may just be, like, a giant fish or, like, something real explainable. But, like...
Well, have you even seen, like, a tuna?
Have I seen a tuna fish?
They're so big.
Yeah. Have you seen a goldfish? Have you seen how big a goldfish can get?
Giant, like, fish, or just all aquatic life kind of, like, frightens me.
Right.
I'm not against it. Like, they're definitely supposed to be there, but it's all kind of haunting to me.
They're all dinosaurs, for one.
Yeah, man.
They've been around for a long time. A lot of them have. A lot of them are just, like, chilling at the bottom of the ocean and, like, doing their thing, unaware, or if not unaware, unbothered by human existence as a whole.
The bottom of the ocean and all that stuff, it's like outer space. They look like aliens.
I kind of see where you're coming from. I'm not gonna lie. They do look really kind of freakish, but they're like pointed, beak-like faces, but then they have like no teeth.
Well, have you watched...
Or some of them do have teeth. Anywho.
Have you watched Blue Planet? Mm-mm. They, I don't know if this is because of James Cameron, but I know that James Cameron had that submarine built to, like, go to the deepest part of the ocean of any human being to study for Avatar 2. And I think that they documented it, and I don't know if that's the same thing as Blue Planet, but there's this, like, deep sea Planet Earth show. And some of the thing, like, there's this, like, fish that has feet, and he's just running.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it with that guy. That just sounds like not fun. A fish underwater that can run, like, literally physically chase you while you're underwater. Like, nah. I mean, I can swim, but still, like, the bottom of the ocean, you can't really swim. You're like, well, you can't live, actually. You literally, we can't be there. So, like, they're already above us there. But aside from that, like, if you could be there, you can't swim fast enough to even, like, get away from a running fish. Like, what?
Do you feel like you have always had a good sense of your like abilities and limitations, because I remember watching the show Lost, and and when Sawyer was isolated on that other island with Kate, and they were like running, I remember just saying like, why don't you just swim back to the other island? Like as if you could
swim for hundreds of miles.
Just willpower it.
Swim for miles in the ocean, it's fine.
I think I had like an overconfidence that like if things got down to brass tacks, it would be I'd figure it out.
Sometimes it's not that easy. But as far as like things like that, I'd have to say, holy shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's gone.
It's gone?
I thought.
It ran away.
It swam away.
Yes.
It had to do with fish.
Do you remember when Finding Nemo came out? How exciting that was?
As a kid, that was like awesome.
Were we like 7?
Yeah.
Like prime time age for Finding Nemo?
I think I had like just turned 7.
That's back when I called Ellen Dory from Finding Nemo.
I'm crying. Her name is Dory.
Yeah. There was a time when I called Idris Elba Charles from The Office.
Oh my god.
That was my introduction to him.
Lord, that's hilarious.
There's a lot of people like that where it's like definitely not the first reference point you're supposed to have.
And that's what you call them.
Yeah.
I'm crying. That's hilarious.
I mean, like, you need a reference point when you're young. You're like, who's that? Oh, that's Alex from Madagascar? Okay.
Crying.
In this night at the museum?
I've always been more of like a face to name recognition person. Like, if I get to know you, I usually recognize you based off of a thing you do or something that I see you. Like, if we talk about something, I'll probably remember the conversation. I'll be like, hey, that's the face that I had that talk with about that thing. Small things. I remember random shit, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's just a thing I do.
Wait. What made you zero in on this? What were we talking about?
Fuck.
I remember talking about a string of movies, and then
you
started saying, I remember everything.
Oh, Dory. Remember you talking about remembering Dory as Ellen, and you were talking about how that's how you remember people. I see what
you're laying down.
So, like, that's, for me, I actually just remember, like, yo, that's so-and-so, but that so-and-so plays this so-and-so in this movie. So, like, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, I usually remember their names, and I'm like, hey, that name-face person was that person in that one movie. Because most of the time I, like, see them as that one person in that one movie forever.
Yeah. There's some people where, like, I think just the sheer level of acting they're able to do, you can kind of just not think about it. But then there's some other people where you're like, you're Mark Zuckerberg forever. Yeah,
like, that's you. That's who you're going to be forever.
And it's like, you're going to be really good in these other movies too, but I'm going to think about it. Dude, did you see what Robert Downey Jr. is doing? All right, so he's, like, done playing Tony Stark, right? Mm-hmm. Which means he's, like, free to do whatever he wants. If you were RDJ, what would you do right now? Because I'll tell you, whatever you're about to say, it's not what he did.
I'm not sure what I'd do. I'd probably just chill.
Yeah, he is definitely not just chilling.
Oh, what's he doing?
He's playing Dr. Dolittle.
I heard about this. My sister flipped shit about this. She was like, what is going on? Why are they redoing everything? She was like, what's happening? Why is he doing this movie?
Yeah, it's really strange. And the animation is, like, not that cooked. And it's just kind of weird.
Oh, I bet. Like, I haven't seen any, like, preview or, like, any visuals of it. I'm just, like, trying to imagine it, and anytime I try and imagine it, I imagine it very awkward. So, like, I don't.
He's like British.
Oh, no.
And to be fair, he's been Sherlock Holmes. I'm not saying he can't do that.
No, but it's just like, he's been Sherlock Holmes. Like,
and he's also been Tony.
And he's been Tony Stark for for a long time. Like, you know.
What do you think the name of the movie is?
Oh, God. Is it just like regular Dr. Doolittle? It's not regular Dr. Doolittle, is it?
It's 2019. What do you think?
Oh, my God. No, it's not regular Dr. Doolittle. What is it?
It's just titled Doolittle.
Oh, God.
It's like...
We gotta simplify it. Why do we have to simplify Dr. Doolittle?
It's like the movie posters where it's the half face.
Okay.
Like, oh, I know what this is. I don't even need to see the whole face.
Oh, my gosh.
I got the idea. And it has this like really dramatic. Why are they doing this? Listen to this. Oh. Yo, you see how they said the makers of Maleficent because they have a Maleficent sequel out right now? They're so sneaky.
You know how they do that?
Dr. Doolittle.
Oh, he flipped his hat. Why is he riding on an ostrich? This is so overkill compared to the other one. Look at that polar bear.
You can talk to animals.
It's Tom Holland because he's required to be there. That's enough. That's all you need. It's a gorilla on a pirate ship with Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland.
I'm very confused about what angle they're going with this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I understand my sister's level of concern. She literally did have a tantrum. She was like, I remember this conversation specifically, and like I'm not gonna go in like full detail, but she definitely was like,
yeah.
What the fuck are they doing to my childhood? Like, why is this happening right now?
Yeah.
And what are they even, like, what is this movie about? And it was just, okay, I see where she's coming from. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. I hope, you know, I like Robert Downey Jr. You know, I like him. I want good things for him. He's changed his life around. He deserves good things.
I think we've kind of hit this, like, critical mass point with making things where if you can imagine it, it's going to exist.
Yeah.
We're getting live action Last Airbender on Netflix.
That is supposed to be a game changer. I need to know when that's happening. I'm very intrigued. They say it's going to have the original creators involved. So I'm
they're like
excited about that.
They're like making it.
Right. So like that's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So like I'm thinking I'll binge watch that and be very, very happy with life. And I hope that it continues. If I binge watch it, maybe I'll, you know, binge watch it again. I'm very known for that.
Yeah, I've been wanting to rewatch The Last Airbender. I think it's like my second favorite show of all time after Breaking Bad.
It's a really good...
It's just a good show.
Yeah. It's well written. The animation is really dope. I'm not going to lie.
It's beautiful. It's crazy how good it is.
The scenery, like... And the, like, way they bring that whole, like, world together as, like, into this whole storyline.
Did it ever really fall off? Because what I'm learning from YouTube is that there's a lot of community of video essayists that just hate everything about every show ever. So there's things I like that now I'm having people point out, like, all these things. But, like, with Avatar, I'm sure there's these people on the internet being like, here's where it got shitty. But I liked the whole damn thing.
I liked it up until it ended, and didn't know why it ended. I was so sad. I was like, wait.
They should have had like an epilogue series with just what's going on.
Yeah.
Now that the world is saved.
I know it would have been nice.
Yeah, they just kind of ended it with him and Katara kissing, and they were like, all right, we gave it to you. That's all for now.
That's all, folks.
You're like, man, that took 4 years.
Right.
Legend of Korra?
I kind of watched it, but it, like, when I watched it, it wasn't bad. I just, like, I don't know. I got into this space of, like, not watching anything.
Yeah, that happens.
And then, like, I haven't been able to find anywhere to binge watch it. Like, all the way through.
Nickelodeon Plus.
Okay, is that a thing?
I mean, it eventually will be.
Oh, no. Okay, so it's not
Coming 2024, Nickelodeon Plus, Cartoon Plus bundle. They're shaking hands.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Dude, the golden age of streaming is definitely over, because I think everybody's going to start realizing that they have a lot of everybody kind of has like really worthy properties. Mm-hmm. So now we're just going to get like streaming bundle packages the way we do with like cable packages. And then it's just the same thing.
And then everyone switches over to having, what's that?
An internet box instead of like a cable box.
The internet box. What's that? No, there's like there's a service. Like it's a streaming service, but it's TV. What's that one?
Like a
Sling.
Oh.
Sling.
I don't
Then
know about
it's going to
this.
be like Sling. You know, like Sling is like you get TV channels, but it's like only the channels you watch. It's going to be like that, except for like streaming services. You're going to have like a slew of streaming services, and they're all going to be the ones that you actually want to watch, since everyone's going to have like their own thing. Like you're going to have a Nick one, you're going to have a Cartoon Network one, you're going to have a Disney one, of course, you gotta have Disney Plus. And then like if you're into some Netflix shit, you're still going to want to watch Netflix. And then there's Hulu. I'm honestly like right now in that like debate of like, do I need all of this shit?
This is getting more expensive than cable.
Dude, right. And I'm like thinking, I'm like, holy shit, like, Netflix's prices are going up, and I got Hulu, and then there's also Disney Plus. Disney Plus is cheap. They did.
Bro, okay, when Twitter was freaking out about Spider-Man leaving the MCU, I'm like, you don't think that Bob Iger is going to just strong-arm Sony into doing what he wants? They're Disney. They're not going to lose. It's absurd.
Disney has a lot of money, and it's a lot of old money.
They own Endgame and Avatar.
Yeah, that carries weight.
That's ridiculous.
They have an absurd amount of money to do, like, what they want. Because, like, at the end of the day, just let them do what they want. They're Disney. Like, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you get mad at them, and then they're like, oh, you want a baby Groot? And then you're, like, held over for a few years, and you're like, wait a minute, Disney, you're acting up a little bit. And then they're like, oh, I just dropped a baby Yoda right here. And you're like, you got me.
Right. And then it's just crazy because, like I said, it's just Disney. Like, they're gonna win every time.
Okay, just one last thing about Disney Plus before this other thought. Their fucking slogan, do you know what it is?
Disney Plus?
Yeah,
What?
it's the vault is open. That's the most hard.
Okay, that has such a double meaning.
It's so
terrible, but at the same time, that is the most baller shit.
No, it's so good. Why is it terrible?
Okay, because, like, if you think of it in, like, the terrible way of, like, their vault of fucking money is about to be wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Then, like, that's terrible, because it's like, dang, y'all are just letting it be known that y'all are about to rob us blind. But, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're Disney. You do what they want.
Dude, fucking Kevin Feige put on a hat and said, you guys are getting Black Widow, Blade, Fantastic Four, and X-Men all in this universe. Have fun, kids.
There you go.
And then he was like, by the way, Doctor Strange 2 horror movie.
There you go.
Suck on that.
How you feeling about it?
Okay, so the thing about all this streaming, I think there's something to be said about like hyper customization. So I remember I was at my grandparents' house like a year or two ago, and it was kind of too complicated on their TV to switch over to all the streaming things. Mm-hmm. And he had like the Stars movie channels.
Yeah.
And it was playing Juno.
Mm-hmm.
And
nice.
it was like 23 minutes in.
Okay.
If I was on Netflix and like I just made a sandwich and I'm like trying to like watch something while I eat, and then like I go get popcorn and then ice cream and then I just kind of stay there and then that's what happens.
Yeah.
I can totally see myself scrolling through Netflix and like passing by Juno and a whole bunch of things, being like, no, I don't. What if I want to watch something else more? But
Yeah.
when I just have these like few options and I just have to watch Juno from 23 minutes in, I remember how good it is. I'm just like, hell yeah, Juno. And then
Right.
like right after that, Jurassic World played, which I'd only ever seen once, and it's not a movie I ever would have had a reason to rewatch in my life.
But there it was. That opportunity like presented itself, and you're like, yes,
And it's like
let's do this.
I was just kind of like, all right, this is the night I'm about to have. It's kind of like when like iRobot is playing on FX. You're like, all right, it's iRobot night.
Gotta do it. It's here.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome. Honestly, like I used to love those nights. I like when
It's the best.
I stopped watching TV like recently, like as an adult. It's just like I don't know, I don't pay attention to it. But as far as like when I did watch TV, I definitely have like those moments where I'm like flipping through channels and I'm like, ooh, I've like never seen this movie and I've wanted to see this movie and here it is. But what's that? There was like I think it was a List movie with Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, the bucket list or
Yeah.
the fuck it list. I mean, it can't be called that.
It was the to-do list or
The
something.
yeah.
I think, or
Okay,
something
yeah, it's
like
like Aubrey
that.
Plaza, and she has this list of like sexual things that
Yeah.
she like wants to do before college or something.
That
like
one.
I feel like
So-
I saw that with you, and then you left 5 minutes into the movie because somebody called you and you didn't explain.
No,
Who was that?
that didn't
Was-
happen. That's not what happened.
I think I know who it was.
No, no one called me.
No, but this did happen.
No, no one called me.
Were you there?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
I feel like I saw this movie with Andrew, and nobody else was there.
No, but you're saying like I was there, but I left.
I'm saying that I thought that was you, but I guess it wasn't because you weren't there.
Oh, okay.
Because you're saying you haven't seen it. Or you have?
Maybe I left.
Am I gaslighting you right now on accident?
I don't know.
What's happening?
You could be.
Oh my god.
There was a time that we went to the movies and I did leave, but I don't remember what movie that was. I don't know if
Pacific
we were with
Rim?
Andrew. No.
I saw that with my mom.
Yeah, I was like, it was not that.
But how good is Pacific Rim?
Nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to jog my memory. Anywho.
Yeah. So, how many times have you listened to Jesus is King?
I listened to it twice. But when I listened to it, like the first time I kind of was like in the middle of doing stuff. I listened to it. Actually, I started listening to it at a really prime moment. I've like recently had a job I kind of like hated.
Yeah.
So I was there one day a couple weeks ago, like, well, obviously, like, you know, when it came out. And basically, I was like, I had an opportunity with a new job, and I've been waiting for them to call me back about getting an interview, and we couldn't, like, get in contact. Like, it wasn't working out. And I was like, okay, I kind of hate today. Or no, I was waiting for an email or something like that. Either way. I had been like trying to get in touch with them. But regardless, I was stressed out in the job I was working at. I was like checking people in to a hospital, which kind of sucked because I was like dealing with a lot of people dealing with a lot of different things personally and like health-wise. I will say, you know, one of the doctors I like talked to told me, you know, the body reflects the like things that we take in. Like if we're around a lot of negative shit, like toxic stuff, or like in bad situations or doing like bad shit with our bodies are gonna be like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
And get sick as shit. And I was just like, obviously, but like when you see that like firsthand, like how much your body will like fuck you up.
I just ate an entire Jack in the Box munchie meal like a garbage person. Do you know how terrible I'm gonna feel tomorrow?
You'll be fine.
Kinda.
I mean, I'm sure you like. I know for a fact
I'm gonna
that
be a
you
little
do eat
sideways.
normal stuff, like aside from just that.
Yeah, I eat vegetables.
Yeah, like you're not gonna die from that, but like that shit could like kill someone that doesn't eat things.
Oh, a munchie meal?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a crime against humanity. I mean, they have a grilled cheeseburger where the top bun is a grilled cheese sandwich.
Hey, that I heard about and is still blowing my mind. I can't imagine ordering it ever, but like that's just like wild as hell.
Yeah. Here, keep talking.
Okay, so I was thinking about going to like restaurants and shit, and just like when I go, I try not to order the same shit, but I always do.
Yeah, okay.
Like
yeah.
I literally no, like I
like, who do you
literally
think you
try.
are?
I like
Trying new
I always
things.
like want. I go in like wanting to like order something that's like, oh, I've never had this before.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to have it. That's
I'm
not
gonna
a
get
bad
the
price.
capicola
This-
pasta. This
Right, like I'm gonna order some shit that I can't even pronounce. Like I really go in with that vibe, and then when I'm like actually there, I get like I'm not like the I'm gonna get chicken tenders person always, because like sometimes I'll get some other shit that I've had before, but like or some shit that I like know what it is, and I'm like, yeah, that's safe, that'll be cool. Like I'm at an Italian place, I don't know what I want. Let's see if they got a pesto. Sometimes they got a pesto.
I've been getting pesto like every time.
Yo.
These days, pesto's kind of the best.
Or sometimes I'll, chicken parm, eggplant parm.
I like red sauces, but I kind of prefer like savory things like fettuccine and pesto and like a lot of like creamier things.
Yeah.
Than red sauces.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. So since I moved back where
Yeah.
I live, one of the perks is my grandma cooks sometimes. And like she's retired, so most of the time she's not home, which that's not what you were expecting me to say, I'm sure. She's like always gone. She lives her best life, and I'm not mad at her at all. Like I want to be like her when I grow up so much because it's so dope.
What's she doing?
She's living her, like, when I say living her best life, some days she's like, yeah, today I'm going to go sub in. Sometimes she'll go back and substitute her old job. She was a teacher at a school. Like, she was a teacher's aide for her preschoolers. And my grandmother is in her 70s. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
I won't say how old she is, but she's in her 70s. And when I say she like goes out and literally keeps up with these little kids all day,
Where's she going out?
like goes to school. She'll like
Okay.
go to the school and like keep up with these little children all day and like
So okay, sorry. Now I see what you're saying.
teach them, and then she like comes home, and then like a couple of days later she's like, all right, I'm not going back in anymore. You know what I'm gonna do today? We're gonna take a bus ride to a different city to go to the casino. And I'm like, you know what I'm like, wait, hold on. She's like, yeah, I'm leaving about 6:00 in the morning. I'm like, what do you like, what's going on? And she's like living her life, and I'm just like, I'm so happy for her. Like I'm like, that's super awesome. Like, to be able to just spend your day doing something you want. Like, she'll be like, hey, today I'm going to go spend my time with this friend. And I'm like, dude, that's dope.
Yeah.
I personally am, like, super chill out where I live now because, like, I don't know too many people. I'm working on it. I'm getting better.
Yeah.
But as I'm, like, out there, because I'm so used to, like, being here, which is kind of nice. I'm glad to be here. I'm very
Yeah.
glad to, like, get to see everyone. It's making me really happy.
Yeah, I like Tempe.
It's awesome. I definitely want to come back. I've really been like considering like how can I make like a bi-coastal lifestyle work, because like that would be dope. Because I do want to like stay with my family, but at the same time I also want to be here. So if I could like find a job where I could like be in both places, that would be kind of great. But it takes time.
Yeah. I haven't really thought about moving.
Tempe is a cool place as a whole. I might, when I come back, I want to buy a house. That's like one of my like goals, is to buy some property out here, because like it's,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
you know,
It's the number one fastest
It's,
growing state in the country.
shh, I wasn't gonna say it.
Oh, you weren't gonna put it out there?
No, that's like a
I shouldn't say the website that wrote that.
no,
But-
no.
It's the 5th most populated
It's growing fast, y'all. That's what I'll say.
city. In
So own something out here if you
Yeah.
live out here and you've been out here and you want to stay out here, because they're going to try and get you out of here.
If you see a plot of dirt in Tempe,
Go pick it up.
go pick it up before it becomes a Taco Bell.
Claim it, pee on it, do something. Not going to lie. Mark it up.
Sprinkle some money.
There you go.
Yeah.
Definitely drop some cash on it.
If you are a certain rallies that is closed down on University,
Yo, I really, honestly, it's funny that you mentioned rallies, because, like, not specifically rallies.
rest in peace.
I'm crying. One of the places that, one of the things that I've been thinking about doing is, like, investing in a franchise.
What?
Yeah, because,
No,
like,
it's not that it's not unbelievable. It's just so exciting to hear.
yeah, like, okay, so when I moved back to Indiana, there was a guy that I worked with, and he was like talking to me one day. He was like, yeah, I gotta leave early today because I'm investing in, my Subway franchise, which shout out to that dude, because he made me think about that. I'm like, yo, that's super fucking smart. Like, that's super smart.
Well,
Not specifically Subway.
Subway's dying.
Come on, not Subway
They're
specifically.
selling $1.89 sandwich sliders right
I'm
now.
not gonna. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, didn't know that, but not specifically talking about Subway. I'm just saying, like, to invest in a franchise of some sort is like super smart to do. Like, you can get so much money, but just general revenue, like, in maintaining that location. And then at that same point,
Does that make you an employee of that company, or are you just like a building owner? Or do you? I don't know anything about how this works.
I'm pretty sure when you franchise, you own the building and that, like, location's business.
But does that, like, okay, you know how, like, the manager at McDonald's is a McDonald's employee?
I think it's contracted, though. I think it's like,
Yeah.
you're not an employee, but you're like, you have a deal, a partnership with Subway to say, like, yo, through this time, I will be an owner and, like, manage this location.
Does that make you as a freelancer or an owner or a stakeholder? I don't know what the vocab words are.
I don't know the, like, terminology, I'm not gonna lie. I just know I want to, like, get something where I can get money and have people, like, receive a service or, like, a thing.
Yeah.
I really want to invest in dispensaries, but I'm not, like, able to do that yet. I have to, like, do some more research on that.
There's a bill that just passed in the House, or I'm saying things wrong definitely, because I'm not sure exactly, but it was some bill proposing, like, legalized or decriminalized marijuana federally or something like that. But then that made the weed stock go up.
Did you know? Oh, I'm sure it did.
But everybody, I saw, like, most people commenting on it saying, like, yeah, it going up this little amount doesn't account for how much it's just been going down for forever. It was just a bunch of sad people like, yay, we got a little win.
Yeah.
Oh, they're bringing back Weeds.
The show?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Nancy Bottom. I think they realized that Orange is the New Black is, like, done.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because also at the end of Weeds, it like was a flash future where, like, people were buying, like, weed cigarette packs from like the store and shit, and it was
Yeah.
like, whoa, the future. Except maybe dispensaries and stuff, I guess, were already doing that back then. But I feel like the way people thought about it, you know.
Yeah. Dude, I really like want to invest just because like I know so. Oh, here you go.
Thanks.
I know so much about. Like, I won't. Let me not say I know so much. Yo, honestly, hold on. I saw the craziest job. Okay, I will say that I know quite a bit about weed, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
I like did some research. Oh well, I won't say did some research. I literally found this thing on Facebook, but it was a legit thing. It was a news article from a very reliable news source,
Yeah.
and it was a link to a site for a job application to be a marijuana tester or like a
That seems.
consultant, basically. Like you did reviews for a magazine on weed.
Right. It's not like they're testing out potentially harmful
No.
things, though. They're just kind of like, hey, come
Yeah, come review this stuff.
be Yelp for science.
Yo, basically. And it's like a legit source, like a legit website source, a science, a website, magazine, and like a science group of people
Yeah.
that like do or want reviews on different stuff, and they're like paying decent money for this, and I'm like, hey man, I'm not gonna lie, y'all are making this real sweet. I would have to like figure out another job just because like I don't want to be that person. Like I don't want to have to like tell everyone I know like, yeah man,
This
I
is how I'm
smoke
paying the
for
bills.
a living.
What about
Or they're like, what do you mean?
What about the guy who's making a salaried position rolling blunts for Snoop Dogg?
I heard about a guy actually that was getting paid to like roll Lil Wayne's blunts too, like a long time ago. So like, or not a long time ago, a guy I know actually mentioned knowing someone, and that shit's like really cool to me because weed is so. I don't know. If you smoke, then you know that it's like that be a job is like a really convenient thing to like for someone that's in a position where like I can literally pay for that just because I can, but like also to be that person like where you're like, yeah, I legit can just pearl that good that I can like roll all your blunts.
Yeah, everything exists now. It's pretty crazy.
I won't say everything, but a lot of things exist.
Can you imagine being like 13 right now?
No.
Like,
I was talking. Oh, man.
these kids have. Because I remember distinctly in 8th grade, there was already kids like selling weed and shit and like probably having sex.
Yeah.
And like now, there's like bird scooters everywhere.
Yeah.
And like weed delivery apps. And Postmates like brings alcohol without an ID and like just shit like that.
Yeah.
And like Square Cash and like, oh my god, it's crazy.
It's a wild time.
These kids have like superpowers.
They have access to a lot of stuff, and it kind of scares me like thinking about it because like I have nieces and nephews, and they're like around that age of like, yo, we can do all this stuff. Like, have you see those memes of like, kids in the bathroom hitting the vape pens or walking down the sidewalk, and like that's a real thing. Like that's a real thing. They can we. Well, I won't. Let me not say we.
These wax pens are like fucking making people zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like our grandchildren are gonna look at us like boomers because we were born in the 1900s and most millennials don't know that Command T opens a new tab.
Okay.
Like if I do a keyboard shortcut, the average millennial's like, what? How the fuck did you just do that? Witchcraft.
Which is kind of wild.
And I feel like these younger kids who are all like being raised on coding in Minecraft are just gonna be so adaptable that the world is just gonna get a lot faster, which means like more expectations from like education and work institutions. But I think people's like brain bandwidth kind of stays the same, and people just get more and more burnt out.
Yeah.
Because
That's very real.
I was on top of a mountain, and there was this mom with like AirPods, and she had like her 4 kids, and they were like gonna watch the sunrise. And like one kid was like really watching it. The other kid was like, he said, "I gotta pull out my phone for this," and it like made him like miss it. And then the 2 other girls were like playing a game, and she was like, "Do you have Snapchat?" to the kid who wasn't on his phone. And he was like, "I don't know what that is." And she was like, "Well, you have to get it." And like the mom was just on her phone.
Yeah.
And then the kid was just like, "I don't wanna." And then he like was the one that was watching the sunset, you know? And then it went down, and then like 2 minutes later the mom was like, "All right, let's go." And then they just kind of didn't take it in, and they just like left. And I got really stressed.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the world we live in right now, like, honestly. And it's kind of like, it's very sad. Like, while I've been here, like, since I've been gone, I've like, we're part of the generation of like, where we kind of like, we know how to take things into the moment. At least I imagine most of us are. There are a lot of us that have been like, "Oh, wow, technology's advancing and like, this is all I want to do." But there are also a lot of us that are like, "Hey, but I also like kind of want to enjoy where I am right now in the moment." And like, since I've been here, I really have tried to take in a lot of the moment in things. I actually keep reminding myself like, "Oh crap, I did need to take a picture of like this. I need to do that." And then like, I have no pictures of anything, but like I have random pictures of like moments from like doing things.
And you know, here's like the other thing, you know, because I feel like every generation looks at what the next one's doing and they're like, "What the fuck?" You know, unless you're like adaptable. I think the one thing is like, when I was a kid, I was definitely like playing my Game Boy, not paying attention, instead of like watching the sunset with this like philosophical eye, you know?
Right.
And like, same thing at like going to baseball games. I would like I remember like getting my Wishmer to evolve into a Loudred in Pokemon Sapphire, and I was just like, "Gang, gang, gang." And like bringing Nintendogs to like graduation events, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think I was still very like susceptible to like the environment of like whatever event we were going to, and like I have like those fond memories still.
See, like the thing with me growing up with technology, like being the way that we were, was like my mom always had rules that made me interact with things. Like I didn't always have my technology with me. I didn't always have access to it because it wasn't always necessary.
We couldn't like bring our Game Boy Colors in the car as kids, and then sometimes those rules would like semi-change, and as a kid I'm like, is this because I'm just not following them and winning, or is she because there were eras where I was on my Game Boy but then back not on it. But I looked out the window a lot as a kid, and like it made it to where I didn't drive until I was like 19 or 20, but I knew how to get everywhere because I would just look out the window, but I didn't know street names at all.
I read a lot as a kid, so like driving around, but I paid attention. Like I'm a trucker's daughter. I was very aware of like where I was. I I've never lost a car up until recently.
Hey man.
I'm like not one of those people that gets lost as far as like when it comes to finding or being in places that I've been before. So like when it's funny, my great grandmother one time she tested me. She was like, how do we get home from here? You're always in that book. How do we get home from here? Because I would like read in the car and like not pay attention to anything that was going on. I'd like check out. And one day she called me out. So I was like, you go this way, and then you go this way, and then you go this way, and then there's your street. And she was like, okay, you're lucky you're right. And I was like, and I laughed because it was just funny to me because I was proud of myself in that moment because it was like, you know what, at least I do know how to get home. Like, she's asking me a really important thing, but had I been like wrapped up or like already used to, I worry about like this generation being like already used to having GPS. Like, are they going to know how to get places?
I had a friend who was going to come over, but then their phone was low on battery, so they're kind of like waiting for it to charge so that they could figure out how to get here. And they didn't know the area, and after some time, they were just kind of like, yeah, it's still taking a while, and I gave them just like a few like major informational things, and I was just like trying to throw them out there, and they were just kind of like, yeah, I just still don't really know the area, so I can't really leave yet, But I was just kind of like, oh, well, if you just, like, punch it in and write down the steps, like MapQuest people used to do. Because that's the thing, because that's the funny thing about GPS. People aren't really even willing to, like, go on their computer, type in an address, look at the search results, and then write down all of the steps to get to somewhere. Because back when, like, MapQuest was booming, that's what you would like, write it down.
Right.
And you'd be like, all right, these are the instructions. And even that is like a simplified, babied down version of like using an actual map. So people don't even do that now.
That's really true.
And I wasn't trying to be a dick when I said it. I was just kind of like, oh, like you could do this. And they were just kind of like, oh, you're right.
Right.
And there's a lot of things like that where I'm like, oh, duh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can still walk up a broken escalator.
Yeah, you can. It's still just stairs.
Yeah. What are you laughing about?
It's just like I had a situation the other week where someone that I worked with got an ID like that. We check in people's insurance and their IDs, and like she looked at it and she got confused because it was from a different country. And she was like, how old is she? Like, what is that? What does any of this mean? And I was just like, it's cool. Like, be cool. Scan it. We'll figure it out after she's gone. We don't need to keep this lady's stuff. Do your job. And it's just like the way that we react to things that we aren't familiar with. Because in this world, we're so used to like automatically knowing things, and if we don't know them, we can look them up instantly, and we're like, all right, I'm gonna find out right now. And when you're in that moment of, oh, I can't do that,
yeah,
it's like a crutch that this society is like so dependent on, and it's like wild. And then like another thing that I noticed in this position was like we don't know phone numbers at all. Like
I know a few phone numbers.
Yeah, most of us, like, if you knew phone numbers before phones, knew every phone number you ever wanted to know, then like you knew phone numbers. Like, I know my grandmother's number. I know my mom's number. I know like people whose numbers haven't changed.
I can visually recognize numbers like as if they're like symbols or images, but I don't actually know the number. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I can recognize a number, but I'm like,
yeah, that's it.
If I don't save a number, like I'll remember a number if I don't save a number. Like I will remember that number.
I could not type it in.
I could type it in if I was repeatedly in contact with a number that I had unsaved.
No, I'm dumb.
No, I'm not. Like I could definitely remember that number. And then, like, that's obviously going to be ingrained in my memory. But, like, for other people that, like, whose numbers, like, I just save and I just know are in my phone, I probably don't know your number.
The thing I was thinking earlier is that, like, when we were kind of, like, playing Game Boys and shit, even if we were semi-distracted, it wasn't... You were kind of tunneled into doing something, and you were still in the place you were at, And you're very much so in your element and still enjoying yourself in your own way. I think with like the like elementary school kids who are like on social media and stuff, it's less that they're not living in the moment and they're like distracted, and more that it kind of now has this like performance element to it.
Right.
'Cause I didn't use social media for October, and the one thing I'll say is like I feel like there was immediately, well, not immediately, but like after like a handful of days or like most of a week, there's like less of a feeling of like needing to like share things or look into things. Mm-hmm. And then you can kind of just deal with the stuff that's like immediately in front of you, even if that includes like distractions like a Game Boy or playing TV. Because I think like a lot of people right now are just getting not used to like focusing in on what they're doing, no matter what it is, even if it's like watching TV or listening to music.
Right. It's just wild to think about. I don't know how the lack of interaction and things, like, I don't know, normal things. People used to call people, and people don't call people anymore.
There's certain people I call like every like 1 or 2 months, because I call you all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about you?
What's up?
Is sometimes I'm like doing something and I'm like, man, Diaa doesn't even know that she's going to be on the phone with me in 8 minutes, because I know that you will pick up.
I'll probably be available and I'll be like, yo, it's Zane. Hold on, give me a minute.
But that isn't to say that you're not like in the middle of stuff.
No, literally, like I said, I literally be like, yo, it's Zane, give me a minute. I'll be like, hold on, I'll get back to you. Wait. Yeah. Like, it's Zane.
Yeah.
But, like, I do that. There are, like, certain people that I do that for, but it's just, like, I'm one of the people that, like, I do talk on the phone. Like, y'all can hit me up.
People use FaceTime a lot.
Yeah, I'm here for FaceTime. I definitely support that.
You know what? That's what's interesting, because people really like podcasts and, like, behind-the-scenes based content and, like, FaceTime. And I think people kind of are, like, yearning for, like, a little bit more like connection type stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like how we're wired. So I think our bodies are like having to eventually like start rejecting all this shit as like toxins.
I think a lot of like the younger generation, like with the FaceTime, like FaceTime is
FaceTime.
FaceTime is another way of like interacting. I mean, it's not like, I mean, people haven't been interacting at all for a little while because texting became a thing, and that was like, call you for what?
How old were you when you got texting?
I had texting like, it had to have been like, maybe 10.
Whoa.
Or 11.
I was a freshman in high school.
So I was that young and able to text because like my mom worked late.
Yeah.
So, like, she would hit me up, or, like, I actually didn't have... Actually, let me not say that. I was able to get text messages for a while, but I couldn't send them. Mm-hmm. And then I did get them, like, when I got a specific phone in, like, 5th grade. So I had to have been, like, 11?
I had, like, an indestructible Nokia phone for emergencies that had, like, Brick Breaker on it.
Nice.
Yeah, that good shit. You could, like, play...
Yeah.
You could play, like, soccer with it in the hallway. But, no, I didn't have texting or Facebook until freshman year of high school, and I was kind of still when the house had, like, the computer, you know?
Right.
That's going to be a really lost concept on younger people.
Definitely.
The computer. That's
yeah.
Because that's like equivalent to the phone.
Well, because a phone is a computer. But, like, you know, a computer is, like, no longer... something that people use. I was talking to a lady, I was checking in one day, and she was like talking about how kids don't know how to type anymore, but she had to take a typing class. And like she had to do shit that like we no longer do. I took typing like as a part
grader.
of computers.
Yeah. You know what? You know what's crazy about what you just said?
What?
In elementary school, you're like, yeah, today we have
Computer
music
class.
Yeah, or well, no, like we have like music class or this or that, but like one of them was just computers.
Yep.
And like I feel like we didn't even say computer class. It was just like, yeah, we're going to computers today.
Yep.
And it's just this room. with all these like 2000 like iMacs.
Mine wasn't IMAX. At my school we had regular PCs. They were dope, and we played StarCraft on them. StarCraft and
You knew cool kids.
After school.
Man, I remember in 6th grade, our one friend, I was in graphic arts, and he was playing Super Smash Bros. On his computer, and I was like, what in the fuck is happening? And he like showed me what emulators were.
Oh shit.
And then like all the kids in the class were like playing emulators.
That's dope.
Just Mario Kart 64 in class. The
I
future is now.
I used to do okay, so back to like the essentials of like using a computer. There are kids that can't type. Like they know how to use their phones, but they don't know how to like physically home row key type.
I type with 3 fingers on both hands.
Okay.
So like 6 total.
That's still like, but you can type, I'm assuming, at a pretty decent speed because
Yeah, I'm
that's
pretty
just
fast.
Like that's just what you're comfortable with doing.
But like I know adults that just kind of poke at things with their index fingers.
There are people that poke at things, and then there are people that poke at things and don't know what they're doing. I know people that have had, like, there was a lady that I worked for that had a job, like, as a supervisor, had to make, like, schedules and things, like, of that nature, and could not type.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, blew my mind.
You know something I was thinking about? At our high school, there was a computer class dedicated to just, like, teaching kids how to, like, change font size and color and Google search and like really and like type and like really bare bones stuff. And I remember at the time, me and like a lot of other kids kind of felt like, man, what a waste. Like this is so dumb. Like this is like a college professor telling you that like Google is a secret. You know what I mean? Because it's like a lot of us were like grew up integrated to it. But
Yeah.
honestly, there probably were like, if there were kids in that class, that means that there probably were like a percentage of kids that like just did not grow up with that stuff. And like it honestly is cool that like a high school would
offer that as
have the intuition to offer that.
There was a lady that came into the job that I was working at, and I was head cashier, so I was like in charge of like the front end of things, which included this kiosk where people could apply for the jobs. And this lady came in and she didn't know how to use a computer, like, at all. She wasn't capable of, like, she was like, is there a paper application? I was like, ooh, no.
And I feel bad, too, because...
And I felt so terrible because, like, she clearly wanted a job. She seriously, physically looked very capable of doing the job. Not that she seemed to be illiterate. However, I think that she had never really been around or had access to computers.
Yeah.
And like where I live now, there are a lot of people that would not have access to computers other than like maybe the library, and nobody would take them to the library, which is very unfortunate, but like that's the situation they were in. And like, I don't know, kids can't go to the library unsupervised in most situations. So it's just like, that kind of sucks.
I was doing some like phone bank volunteering with like a random call generator, you know? And yeah, there was like a lot of like responses of people just saying like, oh, I don't have an email, I don't have a computer, I can't really look at that. Is there any other way? Like,
you can send it to me.
But what's interesting though is that these people are still like young enough to be like, yeah, if I'm going to see something, it's going to be on TV.
Yeah.
These like YouTube videos that are made for like nothing get like more views than like Jimmy Fallon.
Mm-hmm. Or the news.
But like we look at these things with their like big grandiose like sets and like suits and ties and music and everything as like they're still like the epicenter.
Yep.
But because of like the people who are like hooked on those things, it kind of does remain to be like the general understood culture that like that's the thing, even though it's not the majority of like what people are watching.
Right.
Really weird. Yeah, YouTube is
my favorite thing, and I've been obsessed with YouTube for a really long time. So now that YouTube is like growing to like the level that it has grown to.
And what's crazy about it, and I know what I'm about to say is like technically incorrect, but I'll explain. Nothing's changed. It's the same. It's just like it's kind of like when Google was first here, but then it takes some people to look around to realize like what's in front of them.
Yeah.
Like YouTube, like we've always had it and appreciated it, but now it's like this epicenter for so much stuff, and it's like this was always possible. So the people who like got in early, they like just realized like, yeah, this, because like with cameras, people owning cameras and specifically video cameras recreationally, I feel like people didn't really like super know what to do with them besides like home movies.
Right.
And like that's why we had America's Funniest Home Videos, which is such a like a pre-meme concept. Mm-hmm. You know? And or like pre-viral video concept.
Right, definitely.
America's Funniest Home Videos. And so like you would just get things like Keyboard Cat or like Charlie Bit My Finger. Mm-hmm. And like we didn't really know what to do with it, but now people are like, oh, I can create a business out of talking about toys.
Right.
That's why Mr. Beast is crazy. Do you know who that dude is?
No.
Okay, Mr. Beast is like this new like YouTube sensation where basically he's so big now that he makes tons of money, and then his channel is just giving away that money. So he's basically created this like circular loop where his career is making money to then give away at just a growing rate. So he'll make a video where he's like, we bought every product in this grocery store, literally. And then they just make it a free Walmart. And then anybody who comes in, he's like, yeah, take what you want. Everything's bought. So there you go.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And then he'll get like 20 million views or something crazy.
Wild shit.
Yeah. Can you imagine that in like 2008?
No, not at all. There's like people that I watch and I've like watched become like actual like sensations, like really become like super freaking awesome, like from YouTube. And it's cool because it's like you want like when you start watching them, you're like, dang, I really hope awesome things happen for that person. And you kind of like become involved in like, I won't say like a creepy way, but like, you know,
Yeah.
you become like, yo, this is like a friend to me. This is like someone I root for. Like, this is someone I look up to. This is someone that I support, you know? I want good things for. And it's nice to look into other people's lives sometimes and see good things for other people because it makes you like remember, hey, good things for me.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's just like, there's like different things that you can see, like, even if it's just like gaming that you watch on YouTube, like, okay, when someone learns how to do something new, or when someone like gets a new type like score and things like that, like max out new kills, stuff like that.
Yeah, the connectedness of like the internet when it goes the right way is like so great.
Yeah.
I think like documentaries are getting more and more cinematic, and reality content on TV and YouTube are getting like more, you know, just like bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's like why we have like influencers and vloggers and TikTokers and like all these freaking people.
Yeah.
But I think it is like really easy to like kind of connect with stuff, and that's why like you can like really like supposedly highbrow stuff, but then also really get down with like Jersey Shore,
Right.
or like David Dobrik.
Definitely.
But and that's the thing. I think like you can't, like it's not like you can't like Marvel and like supposedly like cinematic movies, you know?
Right.
And I think people though in general, like kind of like with like Pixar or like good Marvel movies, people just do appreciate like sincerity and just like thoughtful stuff, you know?
Right.
And I feel like it's the people on YouTube kind of offering that float to the top the most.
One of the things that I like find so funny about not aside from that, like in the individuals that you support, there's like, it's so funny that when you when you find out about someone else, like who other people subscribe to, and they're no one like that, the people that you subscribe to, because then it's like, when you also see like, yo, yeah, well, this person like ended up doing this, and you're like, whoa, well, this person that I like watched ended up doing this. It's crazy because like they can have completely nothing completely to do with each other.
I right now am like, Corridor Digital has been like my favorite YouTube thing for like 5 or 6 years now, because Josh showed me them when we were freshmen. And they have always had a side channel where they just had like behind the scenes stuff, and it was never really that polished. But they turned it into like an every other day vlog, and then they like shortened the frequency but made the quality higher. And recently they've like finally figured out how to just like really seamlessly do like YouTube style content that is kind of like clickbaity and trending pagey, but without making it bad. So now they're like every Saturday doing these like VFX artist react to videos, and they're really good. And now they're like on the trending page every week. And I know a lot of people who are like starting to like watch their vlogs. The thing about them is they're just like a bunch of like friends who run this VFX company together. And they just kind of like inventing things and trying things, and it kind of has the same appeal of like watching Mythbusters, where, but instead of like busting myths, they're like making videos. And yeah, it's just really cool to be like, they did it.
That's dope.
The boys rose to the top.
They made it.
You gotta go?
Soon.
Okay.
Soon.
You got YouTube shit?
Yeah.
What have you been on?
Honestly, a bunch of tarot stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A bunch of tarot stuff. That's literally a lot of what I watch. But then I also watch like a lot of beauty people. I've been watching and waiting for some of the couples that I watch. People, you know.
You watch couples YouTube pages?
Yeah, some of them.
Are they like vlogs, or what? How
vlogs,
do they operate?
Some of them are pranks. Some of them are like
prank couples.
Some of them are prank couples.
That there has to be like contracts involved if that's what they're doing.
It's not like straight up like they're not like deathly pranks, but sometimes they're just like pranks, fun pranks. Some of them aren't even big enough to be like full on contracted prank channels.
I'm just saying like that it's like a weird existence.
It's a thing. There's just space for everyone. But like most of them do other things other than prank one another. Like that's just one of the things that they do. Like sometimes when you follow like one individual person, obviously they do their other things on that one page. And then there's some people that do like one specific thing on different pages. Which, for some people, like, they're, like, really dope at a bunch of different things, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna follow this and this.
I
this,
like
this.
channels that are mixed bags. And
I do like channels that are mixed bags as well.
That's kind of what I want to do.
Because I feel like it shows more, like, who you are all in one place.
So I'm just interested in a bunch of different things.
Right. And then, like, aside from that, like, it kind of, in my opinion, from what I've experienced with individuals that have, like, pages that are one thing, they give them the opportunity to like it. You can see their creative process. Like when you first check out a new YouTube channel, I don't know if anyone else does this, but this is something that I do. Like I'll like kind of scroll through their videos and like scroll back a ways and be like, dang, like what you been up to?
Sort oldest.
Yeah, like literally like look around and see, check them out.
Yeah, see how size them up.
Right. Like, see where they started, where they're coming from.
Poke around a little bit.
How they're coming. And, like, that's just something that I do. And it's kind of nice because it's like, dang, that person was in a one-bedroom apartment, and now they're living in a penthouse studio, like, with dope, like, or a penthouse loft.
Some of them don't seem like good people, though.
Some of them don't. And it's kind of sad. And it's not all people that I watch, but there are people that, like, other people watch. Sorry. There's, like, it's just people that other people watch. And it's, like, the stuff that they do are things that people are interested in. And you can't be mad at them for finding their niche and, like, doing their thing. But at the same time, like, they're shit people and they kind of did like they did the wrong things and kind of you can't say they didn't deserve it because I don't know what they did.
I watched all 9 hours of the Shane Dawson Jake Paul expose.
Oh God.
And let me tell you, really quality content.
Oh Lord.
But now that everything's all said and done, and I continue to hear stupid shit about Jake Paul, I still don't give a fuck.
Right.
But Shane did do a good job, like, making him look like a human being and just kind of explore. I really like these, like, YouTube commentary things.
Did it make sense as to why it was 9 hours?
Well, he kind of, like, did it where there would be a new episode, like, every day or every other week. I don't remember how he did it, but they would be, like, 40 to 60-minute videos, and it was, like, 9 of them.
Right.
So...
Did all of them, like, make sense?
It was like a mini-series.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a mini-series.
Right.
That's the thing. He could very well, like, go on to make, like, actual bigger production type things. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of the people making videos where, like, cinematography and editing and all those things aren't necessarily their forte.
Right.
Some of those people are making, like, a lot more interesting stuff because they're just kind of willing themselves to go in with, like, a good work ethic and, like, a good idea. Mm-hmm. You know? So It's kind of like Shane Dawson probably could make, like, a cinematic, like, documentary, but the way that he's doing it now is entertaining for its own reasons, and I think that's where, like, YouTube being its own medium kind of informs, like, a lot of, like, variants of, like, approach. Mm-hmm. And it's cool.
Definitely.
Because, like, the algorithm just gave me a random video of this, like, aquarium YouTuber.
Right.
It goes hard.
That shit's lit. I have some animal YouTubers, like some YouTubers that watch, like, deal with animals, aside from, like, Brother Nature, which I hope, he's getting better. Get well soon.
What's going on with him?
He got malaria, dude.
Okay.
It was crazy. Crazy.
I've not followed him in quite a time.
Yeah, it was.
I don't follow a lot of. I have so many pages muted. It's unbelievable.
I have him on Twitter and, like, Instagram. I'm a diehard. I like him.
I have, like, pages muted to the upteenth, so then that way, like, I can simplify what I look at every day. But I have a list of things that, like, I used to like. Mm-hmm. And that, like on YouTube and Gmail, I have, like, over 30 playlist tabs or, like, side folders.
Nice.
Like, I like organizing things and being able to go back to, like, good shit. Mm-hmm. But I don't have to see it every day.
Right. Well, anyway, I, like, watch a bunch of different things. They're not all in one category as to, like, what it can be. So it kind of just mixes up. And that's how I feel like YouTube... That's what I feel like kind of makes YouTube great. It's like it's all a giant mixed bag of just your content. Like the content that you want to see. And if it's not, you scroll past it and you watch something else. You aren't an asshole telling people what you don't want to see on their channels.
I think I have to pause. Yeah. That's the thing, like, having an algorithm kind of, like, decide all this shit based on your behavior. Mm-hmm. It is partially evil.
Yeah.
But it's also very conducive to getting a lot of good shit. Until eventually you run into, like, a Spotify situation where the daily mixes are just, like, loops of stuff that you already listened to and they're kind of broken. Mm-hmm. But YouTube homepage, which is basically just recommended page, does a pretty dang good job of just giving you a random platter of stuff. Mm-hmm. And, yeah. I'm tired.
Yeah, man.
All right. You
stuck.
you got anything?
I'm done. I'm fried. I can't.
Should this be like a Tall Skeleton podcast or a Zane pod? I don't even know what to do with this. I hate that to like make something I have to like think about branding. So I enjoy design.
I feel like this should be a Zane outro. Like not an outro, but
No, I mean like the name of like the show.
um
Because it could be the Zane podcast or it could be the Tall Skeleton podcast. But
Tall Skeleton, I would totally want to talk about like urban shit. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, I guess we did talk about urban shit, but
I just want it to be a vehicle for like making good stuff. I don't like that. That's kind of the same thing with like the mixed bag stuff. I don't really like the idea of like set topics, but if there are certain things that people want to come in with, like for sure.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Holy crap. What do you want to call it?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like how to roll this out, like some sort of a fun. How about just the drum roll to bound to every single time?
You said it was going to be whatever you wanted it to be every episode, so what was this episode? We said this was going to be our Loch Ness Monster episode.
Ooh, okay. Episode 00001, which is just locking myself into a commitment. Diaa Pride and the Loch Ness Monster.
Gang gang.
Gang gang.
You
And
know
the
what's
gang
up.
gang is in brackets.
Gotta be.
And then it's here.
Talking about the 2000s. Yo, post. If you guys see this, I need you guys to tag me in your decades posts. I'm like kind of starting.
Come on.
I'm kind of starting to get really interested in these posts. Y'all can catch me at It's Diaa Duh. So like seriously, since we talked about like the generation of just like, you know, where we are and stuff. If you were alive this whole
Yeah,
decade,
2019's ending. We didn't even talk about that. Whoa.
I know. We'll talk about that the next time. Like, we're going to find a way to make this work while I'm gone. I don't know how. But we're going to make this work. And when we do, I'm going to have to come back and we're going to talk about this.
The decades.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, on Netflix, they have different decades. Documentaries. You can watch them. You get the 80s, they roll through them. You get the 90s, you roll through them. But what's really interesting is now they have on Netflix, and not sponsored, but Netflix, give me money. They have these 2000s documentaries.
Oh boy.
And the thing is I think a lot of people who are millennials say like, I'm a 90s kid. And I think that they think of the 90s and the 2000s as the same thing. Mm-hmm. Because they kind of blurred. Because you don't really notice change while it's happening. The 2000s are a really specific decade. And I really want to make like a movie one day about the year 2007.
The year 2007?
Everything happened.
A lot of things did happen in the year 2007.
And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not even going to talk about all the things that happened in 2007.
No, that's too much for a lot of people. Because if you don't know about what happened in 2007, then you're like missing out completely.
And what's crazy is that you and I could be thinking about like 8 completely different things
A
right
lot
now.
of different things. But that was a great year.
Will be one for the ages. And with that, man, am I gonna see you again before 2020?
I don't know. You might. I may just make an appearance. I may just pop back up.
Come over tomorrow.
I'm crying. I might do that.
It's nice out.
I can possibly do that.
All right.
Could be arranged. I'll keep you posted.
All right.
We'll shake on it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.